Okay, let's get that front end set up. Head over to Aminet and search for Tiny Launcher. Download that to your N partition. You should have that card in. There we go, the N. Okay, go ahead and open WinUAE. Use the same configuration that we did in part 5. I'm not going to go through every step. And start up. Okay, go over to your N partition. Show all. And we're going to extract this. So double click. And let's point this and WHDLoad. Okay. And start. Before we close WinUAE, there's a couple things we want to do. This is probably the last time we're going to use WinUAE, so let's finalize a few things here. Let's go into Workbench. Let's go into Storage. And let's move those wheel mouse drivers over. Okay, that should be it. Let's go ahead and close WinUAE. And let's get an icon. Quick Google search, first hit looks like a good one, but you can use any icon you want. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and download this. Might as well point it at the end. Save. And you get that, it's fine, just tell it to keep. Let's go over to the end. Let's extract that here. And let's copy that. Cut it. Go into WHDLoad and let's paste. Okay. Then just house cleaning, go ahead and delete that. We have one last step to do, and that'll require a tool and another emulator. The tool is CBM Transfer, and here's your page over at 6502.org. You see the full link here. And you scroll down. You'll see the full release. This is normally used for like a Zoom floppy and a real floppy drive, but it's also a good image manipulation tool on its own, and you shouldn't need the OpenCBM or the drivers for the Zoom floppy if you're just working with D64 image files and transferring data in and out of them. You should be fine. If you have any problems, just ask down in the comment section, and either myself or someone will answer. And then finally, we're going to use the WinVice emulator. We need to create a single PRG file, very basic programming language program file. There's many ways of doing that, but for demonstration purposes and just speed, the easiest is just to use this emulator. Again, with the emulator, if anybody has any questions, ask down in the comment section. Okay, first off, open up your WinVice emulator, and we are going to create a disk image, create and attach a disk image. Go ahead, have your SD card in, go ahead and navigate to the M folder, create the D64 image name with something like temp. This is only going to be used really briefly, and you can give it some kind of name down here. And ID really doesn't matter, but let's go ahead and save. Okay, now that D64 is loaded, so let's create a program. And our good friends over at iComp demonstrated this nice little trick, so you can boot directly into a core without selecting or anything. You just put this program file on the root directory, the M partition in our case, and when it reads this, it's going to boot whatever slot you tell it to. So you may need to pause now, go back over to your Turbo Chameleon and figure out what slot numerically that you wrote the core to. And here's how the numbers correlate with the letters. I did mine on B, so I have slot 1. But you need to go over and look, and whatever slot you put it in, you need to know what number. It's almost certainly not going to be 0, but if you did B like me, it's 1, and that's what we're going to use. 10 slot equals 1. See, it shows 3 here, but I'm not using 3, I'm using 1. 20 poke 53502 42 30 poke 53502 comma 16 plus slot, and that is it. Let's save it. Comma 8. Okay, that's it. We should be done in Vice. You can close that out. Let's open that CBM transfer program that you just installed. Okay, over here, let's go to M and find that temp D64 you created. Double click, and there's our boot. And over here, we also want local PC. We also want M. And now let's select this program file and move it over, transfer. And there we go. It's outside of the D64 image and directly on that M partition. Okay, go ahead and exit. And now just house cleaning. Let's go into M and get rid of that D64. We don't need it there. Alright, that's it. We're going to go back over to the C64 and have some real fun. In the next segment, I reference a step that got cut from the final video, so you can ignore the references to that cut part and just follow the step as it's laid out here. Alright, behind the scenes, something didn't go right, and not quite sure what, but just to accomplish the task, let's do something here. This was named N. I changed it SD0. This is the condensed version basically, but yeah, go ahead and rename that to SD0 and go ahead into your WHDLoad. Now find your launcher. Basically it was coming up here and saying that it was no games. So in an sysconfig, it was just blank. It had no idea. And there's more to it than that, but basically go ahead in there and change it to SD0 WHDLoad /games. And now let's try to update games here, which will not be as fast as on the emulator, but hopefully it'll do. So F1. And hopefully I'll be back when this is done. I didn't time it, but it took something like a couple hours, maybe two plus hours. But all things considered, not that bad. And it works. There's all your games. Before we get into the games, let's exit out and do one last thing. Click your icon once, and then go up to icons and leave out. And there you have it. Congratulations, you have the ultimate WHDLoad Gaming Amiga Computer. Let's look at a game. Now in searching for games, you can be a show-off, and you can just continuously scroll through forever. That can take a long time, but if you just want to go a little faster, you can be all the way up at the top, and then push up. Sometimes it takes a couple times, and there you can choose a letter. So let's choose W, and let's find Walker.
Now, when you load a game, you want to pay attention to what the exit key is. And I did a quick video on the most common WHDLoad exit keys, and I'll put a card up on the screen right about now. But let's go ahead and load. And there you see, press F10 to quit. So when you're playing the game and you're done and you want to exit, you'll want to press F10. Well, there's no F10 on the Commodore 64 keyboard. So that replacement is the run stop key with the F3 key at the same time. Okay, I changed my mind. And we're exit. Now we can choose another game. Don't have to power cycle the computer. I found that the vast majority of these games are just going to work. You're probably going to find here or there one that won't, because this collection was tailored towards a vampire accelerator, but I find that they generally just do work. The other thing is, remember, there's the difference between NTSC and PAL. Right now I'm in NTSC, but you're going to find some games that are PAL that won't run properly in NTSC, and you can always go in, change your chipset settings. So there's your video. You can toggle between NTSC and PAL, and then it'll reboot. So whenever you're booting up, you're probably going to select Power NTSC based on the game, or just do it whenever you find the need to. And now you have a new party trick. Now this won't be edited at all, except for taking out some black screen load time. And there you have it. All you have to do to boot your Amiga is put the SD card in and turn on the power switch. That is it. And just double click to launch your WHDLoad. Pretty sweet, huh? Well, that's going to about wrap up the series. If you enjoyed this series and want to see more content like this, I please need you to subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Hit the like button. And I thank you again, and I'll see you on the next video.